Braille is literacy. Without it, I couldn't read or write.
Braille basically allows me to be the same as my sighted peers.
I want to be a writer, but without Braille I couldn't write, so I couldn't be what I wanted to be.
The world is a very competitive place, and if you're blind and you want to succeed, you have to have an edge. Braille is my edge.
Tasha, an award-winning writer, is a junior at Brown.
Braille is a way for blind children to process information actively rather than passively. Listening to a book on tape or listening to someone describe a diagram. When I'm tracing my fingers along the map of Brown University, I can, for the first time, have a mental picture of what that school looks like and how everything fits together. And I wouldn't get that if someone was trying to describe it to me.
For complex concepts like math and science, Braille textbooks are far superior to books on tape.
6x minus 7 equals 0.
Braille lets us experience something as close to sight as possible, because we are seeing with our fingers.
Without the tactile graphics, I wouldn't understand length times width times depth on this.
Yuna's in the 5th grade. Her lesson was embossed in Braille, so she can read along
Stark Egyptian scenes.
or aloud, like the rest of her class.
Discovered in Egypt.
This high-tech Braille device makes information even more accessible. It has a Braille keyboard for writing and a refreshable Braille display for reading. It runs Microsoft Word and connects to a printer or the internet.
Are we ready?
They have 5 minutes to write a poem about Egypt. Braille lets Yuna review the text, write her poem, and read it at the same pace as her classmates.
The ordinary people who built the pyramids. If I didn't have Braille, somebody would have to read to me, and I would have to tell them what to write instead of me writing myself.
Albano learned Braille growing up in Greece. He's in the 10th grade at Boston Latin School.
The school is intense, and Albano has been able to compete quite nicely.
For this class, Albano downloaded Romeo and Juliet in Braille.
It enables him to have instant access because we flip around 2 different parts of the text.
Scene 3.
They have to paraphrase a scene into modern English and perform both versions for the class.
Gently tries to vanish from his lips, not body's death, but body's punishment. So, like,
He has softened your punishment from the usual death to banishment.
Yeah.
Braille really allows him to do the work just like everybody else,
Banished from Verona.
in a way that just simply audio recordings would not allow him to.
A gentler judgment vanished from his lips.
Yuna, Albano, and Tasha are shining examples of Braille literacy, but some sad facts remain. Only 1 out of 5 blind schoolchildren uses Braille. Many books and textbooks are not yet available in Braille. High-tech Braille devices are expensive and available to few. That's why we started Hands-On Books for Blind Children.
If I didn't have Braille, I really would not be able to compete on the same level as my sighted classmates.
Braille is possibly the most powerful tool a blind person can have.
Is there anything you'd like to tell us or the people who give money so that we can have Braille books?
I want to thank them because I don't think that without Braille I wouldn't have an education, which is the most important thing that you have.
Hands-On Books for Blind Children.
And in the Hogwarts version of No Child Left Behind, Scholastic and the National Braille Press are also making the Braille edition of the latest Harry Potter available sooner than ever before.
Some fans who used to have to wait are getting to enjoy the book along with everyone else.
It's giving students the same opportunity that sighted kids have.
The magic. Harry reappears for everyone to read.
It was Rowling who insisted that blind fans like Courtney Gross of New York, a voracious reader and Harry Potter fanatic,
Professor, Harry said in a kind of strangled whisper,
not have to wait an extra day or pay an extra dime for her new book in Braille.
Who's a Harry Potter fan? Just raise your hand.
I'm a Harry Potter fiend. The day it comes out, everyone's going crazy, so, I want to have it as fast as possible so that I can Join in.
Michelle Smith has been told she looks like Potter's friend, Hermione, and so she likes to follow what happens to Hermione, but she prefers to read it in Braille, not listen to it on audio tape.
Here to talk about the books is Bill Rader from Boston. He's the president of the National Braille Press. Tell me how important it is to make sure that you put out a Braille version of Harry Potter.
The distribution of Harry Potter is about as large a retail phenomenon as takes place in this country. Blind children want to be part of the phenomenon just as every sighted child does.
We waited 2 years for this book as it is, and then the visually impaired world has to wait another 2 months. That's unfair. And I'm glad that they finally got their acts together and fixed it.
It was fixed by Harry Potter publisher Scholastic and the National Braille Press.
Now, the Braille edition comes in 8 volumes,
each one containing about 130 pages,
and weighs a total of 11 pounds.
Harry Potter costs about $62 to produce, but the National
Braille Press is making Harry Potter available
for the standard retail price. It's not about charity, according to the nonprofit National Braille Press. It's about parity.
That is a great story.
It's really a great thing you're doing, Bill Rader.
Great story. That's great. That's wonderful.